So, episode number 4 of the podcast. Okay, so what I'm going to talk today about, guys, is basically a few things. Big news this weekend is Conor McGregor got knocked out for the first time in his career, I do believe. Definitely the first time in his UFC career. He got smashed by Dustin Poirier. And this isn't an MMA podcast or anything, but the reason I bring it up is because I saw a really interesting clip in the build up to the fights, because I used to be a big Conor McGregor fan, but I'm definitely not anymore ever since he went apeshit and just started doing all the wrong things that come, all the trappings that come with fame and money. He fell into every one of them. So I'm not a fan anymore, but I used to be when he was on the rise. But anyway, one thing I did see in the build up was there was an interview with John Kavanagh and his coach, and Conor did like great preparation physically and stuff for this fight. You know, he was travelling to Portugal and stuff like that, over and back from Dublin, and isolating himself and all that crack. And yeah, I think he was in Portugal while the lockdown was on over here, and then back over here, had an octagon built at his house or something like that. But anyway, one thing that really stood out to me was, like, John Kavanagh said he wasn't really coaching him at all this time. He said that McGregor's got such a high fight IQ that he was kind of able to coach himself, and I was just like, oh. Whenever I hear something like that, it's always like a big red flag for me, because like, you don't have athletes that are just their own coach at the same time. It's just not a good idea. And I know he did have coaches for his performance. He had his nutritionist, but like, John Kavanagh is the man, and he's been Conor's coach from the start, and he's like the strategist, and he's the one that would be all about looking at the other fighter, breaking down strategies for fighting them, and, you know, different strategies for every fight and that kind of thing. And just when I heard that, I was just like, geez, that doesn't sound good at all. And sure enough, whether that was like a big part of it or not, Conor lost, I know, this weekend. But basically the moral of that story is always listen to your coach, always follow your coach. Like, all the best athletes in the world have fucking coaches. I mean, if you look at all the top CrossFitters, they all have coaches. They don't fucking train themselves. All the top weightlifters, like, one weightlifter that comes to my mind is that guy Lou from China. What's his second name? I can't remember. But he's basically 35. He's like the best weightlifter in the world. Liu Xiaojin, I think. And he's always kind of celebrating his victories with his coach. And I'm sure he's got a great lifting IQ, but he doesn't go away and fucking coach himself and stuff like that. And, you know, you need discipline in that regard. So, like, anyone who kind of fucks off and think they know better than their own coach is really pissing against the wind. That's that. Anyway, I saw something as well popping up on my Facebook and Instagram feed, which really pissed me off. And I was going to talk basically this week about the female CrossFit athletes and the whole bobsled thing going on, but I didn't do any research into that because I was so distracted by this other shit that I saw that just kind of really annoys the shit out of me. And I don't mean to rag on anyone on a podcast, but this has all got to do with Carrie Pierce and some other guy who I've never heard of. But Carrie Pierce is extremely well known in the CrossFit world. She's like the third fittest woman in the world, I think. She came third in the games last year, and she's like the fittest woman in America 3 years in a row, something like that. And I've seen this shit pop up about like her Carrie Pierce power abs, and I'm not saying like my program is better than her program. This is not the direction that's going at all, and I don't spit out that shit that one program is better than another program, because I'm watching the videos that she's putting out and the movements she's doing are fine. She's promoting basically a home workout program, and the claim is like, if you click onto her link, you see a picture of Carrie Pierce's six-pack and her arms and shoulders and all the rest of it, her torso, and it's like, how would you like to get abs like this? And she's saying the secret to getting insane abs is basically doing a 10-minute exercise program, a 10-minute exercise session 5 days a week for 30 days or whatever, 4 weeks, for a month. 5 days a week for a month. And you're going to get insane abs that look like that. And that is like that's kind of a thing that I thought was leaving the internet. I thought that kind of bullshit was gone. So I remember when I first started my fitness journey, there was this guy called Mike Chang on YouTube, and he used to own a company called Six Pack Secrets. And basically it was all about like the secrets to getting a six pack and all that shit. And I was about 19 or 20 at the time. I was about 19 or 20 at the time, just when I first started going to the gym. I started going to the gym properly, I think, when I was like 21. So yeah, around 19 or 20 I was looking at this, had like small weights at home, and obviously that was like the very start of like internet marketing and stuff like that. You'd see these ads for six pack secrets pop up in that little tiny square on YouTube. You click on him and then this stuff would be revealed, and he'd be like, the secret to getting six pack secret, whatever the fuck it is blah, click on this link below. And I bought some of his stuff to see what it was like, and there was nothing really secretive about it. You know, it was an exercise regime with workouts to go with it, or with nutrition stuff to go with it, and it was just very normal things. Like, there was no secret to getting a six pack. And I remember another guy comes to mind, CT Fletcher. CT Fletcher was this other guy then when bodybuilding was kind of going through this really huge boom in like aesthetics and stuff like that. CT Fletcher was this black guy with huge fucking arms, did like steroids and all the rest of it, but still no taken away from like the physical specimen that he was. And he has a great speech on YouTube, and it was like the first time I've ever saw him, and it went viral as well. But he's basically leaning up against the car and he's just talking, and he says, like, you know, all this shit about like 8-minute abs and 6-minute abs or whatever the fuck it is, it's all rubbish. And he just said like that if someone has a six pack, you can be damn sure that they've worked really hard to get that six pack, and don't believe any of that other bullshit that they're putting out there. You know, these things like ab machines and do this stuff at home. Like, I remember when I was really young, seeing telemarketing ads late at night because like RTE stopped showing anything after like 12 o'clock or something like that, or it was something weird, like on TV3 it didn't start till like 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Anyway, basically see telemarketing ads for like a six pack machine that were half an hour long, and it's like, do these crunches on this machine and you'll get a six pack, and all that shit is kind of gone. And I thought this shit was gone as well, but it's kind of making some sort of a comeback in an annoying way. And as a gym owner, it's really frustrating because when people come into the gym at first, I explain to them like the whole PMI situation, which is like the bit of rebranding I did when I was like, okay, I really want PMI to stand for something. And I was like, the three words that we base like the philosophy of many things in the gym around is like persistence, movement, integrity. Persistence, you got to be consistent in what you're doing, you got to work hard, don't give up, don't quit, all that good stuff. Movement, the goal is to always move well. Big weights don't impress anyone. If you're squatting with 200 kilos on your back and you like squat down 6 inches, that is not impressing anyone. Like, a big range of motion is like the important part, because people generally, when they come in off the street and they haven't done much gym work before, or even if they have done some gym work before, they move like shit, and that requires a lot of work to change that. So the number one goal is always to move well. And then integrity is just like, don't bullshit yourself, we won't bullshit you. There's so much rubbish online when it comes to marketing. Everyone has the fucking secret. But when you come into the gym and you're doing CrossFit is hard work. And I always try and make the point of like, you're new to this. You're undertaking something that's hard, and that's good. That's a good thing. You need some kind of physical struggle in your life. We're in like the age of instant gratification through technology and whatever. You know, you buy something on Amazon, it comes 2 days later or something like that. Instant gratification comes in so many forms these days, but this is something you're actually going to genuinely have to work at. And what you put into this, you will get out of this. And there's absolutely no shortcuts. And then when you see shit like this, like, you know, the secret to getting insane abs, it makes it seem like this person has the answer that the rest of us know nothing about. And it's such horseshit. Such horseshit. Carrie Pierce got insane fucking abs because she was a gymnast from a young age. She says nothing about the fact that she went through a phase of bodybuilding here as well, which also contributed to her aesthetic appearance. And like, there's bizarre sentences like, everyone notices power abs. In 30 days, they'll notice yours. I mean, what if I'm a fucking overweight person who's got a body fat of about 30%, you're saying in 30 days you can get my 30% body fat down to about like fucking 10% or whatever it needs to be to see my six pack? You must be joking. Each day as you get stronger, you will see the changes in your abs. Each day you will see a fucking change in your abs. You will in your whole. In fact, within 30 days, you'll have more definition in your abs than you ever have before. Like if you never had any definition in your abs to start with because you have a huge belly, a month of working out isn't going to change that. And there's more shit. In 30 days, you'll get rid of belly fat. No guarantee that you will get rid of belly fat. You can't target where you're fat reducing in your body. You lose inches off your waist. The only people losing inches off your waist are the people getting COVID-19 at the moment, and they're just fucking bedridden. You'll knock out those stomach rolls. Nice. Knock them out. You'll have more definition. You'll fit better into your clothes, especially your jeans, because somehow doing loads of core workout equates to like fucking smaller legs and ass in 30 days, whatever, especially the jeans, because there you go. You lose your muffin top. You lose weight. Nutrition tips are part of the program. You'll be the envy of your friends with your newly found abs, the abs that you've lost. You'll rediscover the abs you had in your 20s, which is another weird fucking thing. I mean, who says anyone had abs in their 20s? Anyway, you'll get that V you've always wanted. That V. Like the shape of a person's body is... Like that V thing is highly subjective, because you can have someone who's just got like fucking narrow shoulders and wide hips. Good luck getting that V in that situation. You'll get more compliments. You look and feel better. Order now. Here's how my program works. Blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes a day. All this shit. This is just disappointing. Super, super disappointing to see this shit from a high level CrossFitter who I feel should know better. It's all about like the claims that are being made. The claims that are being made are fucking rubbish. You know? You click on the order now button and you see all this rubbish about like the 10-minute 5-day week thing is valued at €99 or dollars. More exercises that are valued at another $50. Teach you proper and precise techniques that gymnasts and CrossFitters use. That's another $50. Total value of $200. But if you order today, conveniently enough, by the end of today's date, you'll get it for $30. I mean, if I had something that was worth $200, if the value was worth $200, I would charge $200. I wouldn't charge $30. And a money back guarantee. Oh God, you always see that in these stupid ads. A money back guarantee that no one ever claims back. Yeah, conveniently enough, it's a 30-day money back guarantee as well. Small window there for like, you know, getting your refund. Like by day 29 you're not seeing the results, you've 1 day to claim back your refund. But anyway, yeah, terrible. There's a great guy who's not unknown on the internet. His name is James Smith. He is a great pioneer in terms of like calling out the bullshit on people and saying like, you know, stuff like, if you want a six-pack, it's all down to your nutrition. I mean, if anyone has some bit of athletic ability kind of, or some bit of sporting background and they do want a six-pack, it is like all down to your nutrition, because, you know, getting a six-pack is a different lifestyle change. It means eating a whole different pile of foods that you might not be eating at all at the moment if you have a lot of belly fat and stuff like that. You know, doing stuff like quitting alcohol, eating vegetables, leaving out loads of sauces and foods and all this kind of stuff. And loads of people know that already, and it's common enough knowledge. It's easy to find this stuff on the internet. Like if you could Google how to get a six-pack, Google will probably tell you it's all down to nutrition. And just seeing this kind of shit again is kind of, it's weird. It's like from an era that's gone, when information wasn't as readily available at our fingertips, and you heard about the abs diet and it was all kind of a very specific formula for a person and all this bollocks. And I'm seeing more of it. This guy called Aaron Lejeune, makes fucking crazy claims again about like 30 days and you're going to drop, in 30 days, this guy says you're going to drop 15 pounds or up to 15 pounds, which is insane. And this has kind of motivated me to do like another kind of presentation on like food, which I've done before with my members, which I'm going to record and do again, because like you have to lose in 30 days half a pound a day. So that means you have to go through 3,500 calories divided by 2, which is what, 1,800. You have to be in a deficit of 1,800 calories a day to lose half a pound, which is insane. So like you eat 200 calories, or eat around 200 calories if you're a lady, eat around 700 calories if you're a man, and you'll maintain that deficit no problem. Fucking hell. In very rare situations is stuff like that ever possible. Like, I mean, if someone's grossly overweight and they have done no exercise at all before, and then they started exercising, then at the start they might see some drastic changes to their body, but like 15 pounds as well is just so specific and annoying, because that person could be gaining muscle as well, you know, so they mightn't see a massive change on the scales, and that would contribute to their lack of like poundage being lost, all this shit. And like this guy's website has loads of like before and after photos, and like you could Google and take before and after photos from anywhere. You could probably buy before and after photos online, but you don't even fucking need to. Just Google before and after photos, take the nice looking ones, put them up on your website, being like, oh, look at all the people's lives I've changed. And yeah, I'm kind of ragging on this guy as well, because it's all very annoying, because there's other CrossFit gym owners that I'm sure have come across the same problem. People come in with notions about how things like this are supposed to work. So like they come in, they want to get in shape, and they want to get in shape like that, and it's because they see stuff like this online. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Yeah, on his website he's there sitting down eating a pizza, claiming you'll eat the foods that you want because I got the secret. I got the special guide, the special like exercises. Craziness. The Athlete X guarantee. And also there's this kind of rubbish that like losing weight depends on your body type as well, when it doesn't. Losing weight is the same for everyone. And it's well known now that it's all to do with calorie deficit, and that doesn't change if you're like a big athletic dude or like a totally out of shape lady, or someone who's just after having a baby or something like that, or whatever the situation might be. For people all over the world, for everyone, if you want to lose fat, it's the same formula for everyone. Oh my goodness. Yeah, super disappointing. So anyway, the moral of the story is, if you see any shit like this that seems to be too good to be true, it absolutely is. And here's another fucking problem with it, right? So basically, in the current situation, everyone's locked down, and for many, many people, a large group of people, working professionals who would have traditionally worked in an office, are now working at home. They're set up at home, they're doing their 9 to 5 at home, and they probably have a lot more disposable income than they previously had, because they're not going out and about spending their money. So they're not going to pubs and clubs, they're not going to shops, trying on clothes, buying clothes. They might be buying stuff online. That's fair enough. That could easily be a substitute. They're not going for lunch, eating out during their break at work and stuff like that. They have to cook from home, which is definitely cheaper. They're not meeting their friends for coffee. All these kind of little things add up, and they do have more disposable income. Like, no one's taking holidays at the moment. Holidays every year for everyone are a big expenditure. We all like to splash out and spend thousands on our families or ourselves or other halves or whatever it might be. So these people, without a doubt, definitely have more disposable income. But because of the situation at the moment, everyone is feeling like a bit sad, you know, and that's fair enough. We're all having days where we're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is dragging, the lockdown is boring. we're not in a very, very bad situation because we're not at war, hiding underground in bunkers or anything like that, like they were in the middle of the last century or something. It's not craziness like that, but everyone, mentally is struggling to be stimulated. Every now and again, people are having ups and downs. We're all having phases where we're just cranky as fuck and we can't really figure out why. But when you try and look at the big picture, it's like, okay, this is kind of what's wrong. I'm just going to do something with myself. Exercise. But anyway, yes. So all this kind of shit, this is all kind of emotional blackmail. This is kind of like marketed towards you at a time where you might be feeling a little bit low, a little bit out of shape, and you might make the purchase, click on this without any real follow through, but you click in the kind of hope that you're making a start, and you're clicking partly because it's all bullshit, because it's all there's like this heavy wording about like you'll feel better after you do this and all that kind of shit, and that's fine. You will feel better after you do some exercise, but it's all part of, like, it's all bullshit. It's all like not true. Like, you do any exercise, you're going to feel good, but this is kind of like, oh, this is the secret to feeling good. That's the way this is kind of portrayed. This is like going to help your life at the moment. You can do this at home. Just in 1 month, your life is going to be different. That's kind of the way this shit is marketed. And that's also a problem, I think. So yeah, emotional blackmail, just to kind of layer it on top of the other bullshit that's just not true. So yeah, that's something that I discovered this week. So if anyone sees this shit, don't fall for it. There's lots of really, really good coaches online, especially those of regular gyms, CrossFit gyms, other HIIT style gyms. Lots of idle coaches that would love the business. So the best thing to do would be, like, if someone wants to get in contact, if someone wants a coach or they need help or some shit like that, don't fucking fall for something like this. Get in contact with someone and they might give you a lot of free advice to get you going. And as well as that, if you kind of develop a relationship with this person or coach, and when the lockdown ends and they work at a gym, you can follow through with them and go to their gym, and it's much better. And I'm sure they will steer you in the right direction, because this is rubbish. Fucking rubbish. Anyway, that's that. Don't fall for that shit. Okay, so next thing I'm going to talk about is working from home, since I briefly talked about it there, right? Okay. If you're a person who's working from home, you should definitely be timetabling in some movement breaks throughout your day. Because I've noticed myself, I'm lucky enough to come into the gym and break up my day that way and move around, and I have a bit of space to do whatever, and I can throw myself over the rig and all that kind of shit. But for people who don't have that facility and they've just they only have the option of like working out at home in a room, and that's it, they should definitely timetable in some movement breaks. Because I know myself, I'm sitting down probably an extra 20 hours a week where I wasn't before, and I wouldn't be sitting down in perfect posture either. Like, I'd be sitting at a kitchen table and chair, which isn't good. I'd be kind of working in between that and sitting on a couch, kind of slanted on the couch with the laptop on my legs. And again, not good. And I feel super stiff lately in my lower back, but I can iron out the kinks, by rolling and stretching and having kind of regular movement breaks. So if you're someone in that situation where you're just sitting at home a lot, you should be like standing up and moving about every 40 minutes to an hour, and kind of standing up and moving about for about 5 minutes. So maybe after 50 minutes, stand up, move about, stretch, roll, do something, touch your toes 20 times, do a few lunges, a few air squats, lie in a twisted cross, crack your back, something like that. That should definitely be done wherever possible, every 40 minutes to an hour, and then back into it again. And this just kind of adds a little bit of reset into your brain, because when we were doing our leaving cert, we were all taught, well, in our school anyway, it was after 40 minutes you're not really taking in any information, so stop, take a break, grab a cup of tea or whatever, and back into it again for another 40 minutes. You know, it was like 40 minutes and then a break for 10 minutes and then back into it again, something like that. But I think it's also true because sitting down for long periods, and we're all sitting down probably a lot more than we did before. It's like sitting down is almost like a disease if you're doing it long enough. It's really bad for you. It's really kind of insidious and can be terrible for your posture. So movement breaks are really important, and just there's loads of like stretching that can be done. Loads of examples on our YouTube. If you're on our YouTube channel watching this, just go into our playlist that's called warm-ups and mobility work, and you'll see some options there. Google any kind of yoga thing, do some stuff you know how to do yourself, but yeah, definitely should be done. Another reason I was kind of thinking about this is because working from home is now going to be legislated for in some kind of way. So at the moment, Leo Varadkar, the Taoiseach, is looking to push some legislation to make working home part of like the normal working life, and that means it's going to stay in some capacity after COVID is gone and the lockdowns are over. And you should really make sure you have like a good working from home setup, and you're not just sitting at like I am, a kitchen table and a kitchen chair. Try and make your homeworking station something that'll, you know, like really we should have like proper chairs for sitting on that kind of are going to be good for our posture, and really should get used to kind of taking movement breaks and that kind of thing if you are working from home, because it's definitely something that's going to be here to stay in some capacity. I think at the moment they might be looking at like making at least 1 day a week a day that you can work from home, or could be more like, and it also might depend on where you work too. I mean, some companies might be like, oh, for permanent employees they can work at home anytime they want unless they absolutely have to come in from wherever. So it really should be something that people need to think about properly. I know a few houses that had offices at home as well, but like the offices were just turned into kind of a shitty library where people used to store piles of paperwork and stuff like that, and it wasn't really a proper situation. Like another thing to think about as well is something I bought off Amazon for $50 is this like a small little hydraulic, sounds like amazing when I say hydraulic, but basically it's for $50, a small little standing desk that goes up and down. So when you're working like that, the trick isn't to be always standing or always sitting down. It's like a mixture of both. So with this thing, basically kind of raise it up and stand, work at your desk for like about 40 minutes or an hour, and then when you're a bit tired, sit down in a good position and keep working at your desk. And that's kind of the way to do it. Can't imagine, like, I wonder, are there a lot of people as well just kind of fucking thrown in bed working that way, which isn't really great either, because you're propping yourself up with a pillow and your upper back is arched at a crazy angle, and then you're fucking staring at the laptop, which is probably lying in your stomach. So that's definitely something to think about. Make your working from home space like a proper ergonomic space that's going to suit your like body proportions and your needs and stuff like that, and take movement breaks and make that part of a strategy and all that shit. So that's like a little tip for people who are probably listening. Brief update on my thoughts in the open. So when I was editing the last video as well, when I was looking at the required equipment list that was emailed to the affiliates, not in kind of like a major official capacity, but just emailed in kind of like, oh, by the way, this is what the situation is going to look like. It said a dumbbell, and it didn't say a pair of dumbbells. It just said a dumbbell. And when I was talking in the podcast last week, I made a prediction that 20.2 would be like my second choice for our open workout that will be repeated. But that had 2 dumbbells in it. And since this workout has only one, or since this list has only one dumbbell listed as a requirement, I think you can safely cross that prediction off the list. So yeah, I'm still sticking with like, you know, the whole idea that they'll want to retest a workout from last year, or actually October 2019, and just see how people have fared in comparison to then throughout the whole being locked down situation. And I still think they will include a workout with a heavy barbell, I heard someone say today that they don't think that there will be a heavy barbell, so they're not practicing anything with a heavy barbell at all. But I do think there will be a heavy barbell for the reason that I stated before, is that you need a broad test of fitness. It can't just be a load of like HIIT workouts with dumbbells and stuff and light barbell, because that's not a broad test. A broad proper test is you do have something heavy in there. And if people have their own gyms at home and their own setup, generally they'll buy equipment that will suit their own level or suit their own capacity for weight, if that makes sense. So if I'm a guy and my max back squat is 100 kilos and my max deadlift is like 120 kilos, I'm probably not going to buy 200 kilos worth of equipment. I'll probably buy something around 100 or 120 kilos starting off anyway. And in my head, I'll be like, okay, this is what I have and I'm going to work from here. And that's grand, and it'll suit programming something heavy in the open, because if I'm that same guy and my max like clean and jerk is 80 kilos and I only have 120 kilos of weight, and then like the barbell is going up at like 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, and I can't get past the 80 kg barbell and I don't have enough weights for, 100 or 120, it doesn't matter anyway because I could never lift it. But that 80 kilos is still relatively heavy for me. So I still think there will be a heavy barbell. So that makes sense, right? People are going to have equipment that is within their own means, physically speaking, So, yeah. So, again, I still think there's going to be a heavy barbell. I couldn't see why there wouldn't be. Like, no one's going to be online being like, oh, that workout was too heavy, I couldn't lift that. Or they're not going to be giving up because like, 225 kilos for a deadlift, don't have enough weights for that. And someone will be like, could you lift it? No, but that's not the point. That is the point. So yeah, I still think a heavy barbell is going to be on the cards. The only issue that people could run into with the barbell situation is like incremental weights, because in the open, 95 pounds is 42, 275 pounds is 125. It's like those 2.5 kilos and 5 kilos. Hopefully people have those plates, because I know they were kind of hard to come by, maybe even more hard to come by than the big plates, so hopefully people have those if they're going to be working out at home. So just to update my open predictions, my first choice is still 20.4, which is 30 box jumps, 15 clean and jerks at 40, 30 box jumps, 15 clean and jerks at 60, box jumps again, clean and jerks again heavier, then it has pistols, heavier clean and jerks, more pistols, and so on and so forth for 20 minutes. That's still my number one pick. My number two pick now has changed though, with this whole dumbbell piece of equipment requirement. And I'm going to put my number two pick as 17.3. 17.3 is another heavy barbell workout which hasn't been repeated yet, and it is 3 rounds of 6 chest to bar pull-ups, 6 squat snatches at 42, and you've got 8 minutes to complete that. Then the next round you get another 4 minutes and you have to do 3 more rounds of 7 chest to bar pull-ups, 5 squat snatches at 60. Then if you get that done, you get another 4 minutes and you have to do 3 more rounds of 8 chest to bar pull-ups, another set of 4 squat snatches, at 82 kilos. I apologize, I'm not sure what the equivalent is for girls. I think 82 kilos is probably something around the 60 mark for girls. And then that keeps going on. So you're adding on 1 chest to bar pull-up and you're taking away 1 squat snatch and you're adding 4 minutes every time, and it's getting gradually longer, and it works all the way up to basically 11 chest to bar pull-ups and 1 squat snatch at something around 120 kilos, something around that. So 120, 130 kilos, something around that. Whatever 265 pounds is. And basically, yeah, there's a 24-minute time cap on that. really long workout if you manage to make it for all 24 minutes. But yeah, that would definitely be my second pick, because again, it's like heavy barbell. It's a separator. It can separate people. Broad test as well. Broad test, and then they'll have the really complicated shit in like the quarterfinals of the Open. They'll have all the muscle ups, bar or ring muscle ups. They'll have the long handstand walks or whatever. All that shit. Yeah. They could have a max lift as well. They could have like a part A and a part B, maybe. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about the Open. It's looking as well like the gyms at the moment will be closed right up to when the Open is going to start. There's talks at the moment that like the government is going to keep everything closed until after Patrick's Day. Who knows? Okay guys, and that's pretty much all I have to talk about today. So don't fall for any bullshit online. If it looks too good to be true, it definitely is. And if someone's promoting some kind of secret, that's a load of bullshit. Take movement breaks and don't be like Conor McGregor and listen to your coach. Bang. Until next time.